I never imagined that living in Oakwood Estates would make me the centerpiece of what turned into a federal investigation. But here we are. It all began with Deborah Wilson, our HOA president. Everyone called her Karen, behind her back, though never to her face. What she tried to do to me ended up destroying her own life instead. It started small. A letter, then another, and another. None of them were addressed to me, yet they kept arriving at my doorstep. For weeks, I received insurance claim documents addressed to Deborah Wilson, but with my address printed on them. At first, I thought it was a harmless mix-up. I'd scrawl wrong address on the envelopes and drop them back in the mailbox. But they kept coming. Allstate, State Farm, Progressive. Each one with a different policy number, but the same strange pattern. That's weird. I muttered one morning, holding yet another envelope. This one was marked in bold red, urgent claim approval. My curiosity finally got the better of me. I opened it. Inside was a check for $12,000, made out to Deborah Wilson, for water damage at my address. My stomach sank. I'd lived here for 3 years, and the only water I'd ever dealt with was from the occasional thunderstorm, easily handled by my gutters. Something was wrong. As I stood there, envelope in hand, my doorbell rang. There she was, 5'2" of pure entitlement, standing on my porch in her signature navy blazer with shiny gold buttons, despite the sweltering summer heat. Her mouth was already pursed into that familiar pinch expression she reserved for anyone she considered beneath her, which was basically everyone. "I believe you have my mail," she said without so much as hello. Her tone was tight, clipped, impatient. The post office said some important documents were delivered here by mistake. I glanced at the open envelope in my hand. "Actually, Deborah, I was just about to come find you," I said. "This claim lists my address, but has your name on it." For a split second, panic flickered across her face before she smoothed it over with a practiced smile. "Well, obviously it's just a clerical error," she said quickly. "Hand it over, and I'll deal with the insurance company." Something about her reaction didn't sit right with me. I'd dealt with Deborah enough during HOA meetings to know when she was lying. Like the time she claimed the playground renovation would cost $50,000, even though I'd found a hidden quote for half that amount buried in the meeting minutes. "I think I'll hold on to this for now," I said evenly. "Since it involves my property, I'd like to call the insurance company myself." Her face flushed crimson. "You will do no such thing," she snapped, dropping her fake politeness. "As president of this HOA, I'm telling you to give me that envelope right now, or you'll face significant fines for violating community mail protocols." I actually laughed. "Community mail protocols? That's not even a thing, Deborah." "It's in Section 12, Paragraph 3 of the bylaws," she shot back, voice rising. $500 per violation. I knew those bylaws inside and out. I'd had to, thanks to her constant petty complaints. "No, it's not," I said. "But insurance fraud? Yeah, that's definitely a thing." And now I'm wondering what's really going on here. That's when Deborah made her first big mistake. Her first big mistake came fast. Deborah lunged forward, tried to snatch the envelope right out of my hand. I stepped back instinctively, startled by how aggressive she was, and she nearly stumbled into my entryway. "Give it to me. Now," she demanded, her voice sharp enough to cut glass, and loud enough for the entire neighborhood to hear. "I think you should leave," I said firmly, pulling the door just enough to block her from stepping inside. "And for the record, I'm keeping all the documents that have been sent to my house. If there's nothing suspicious going on, you shouldn't have a problem with me calling to verify these claims." Her face twisted into something between rage and fear. "You have no idea who you're messing with," she hissed through clenched teeth. "I can make your life here a nightmare. That little vegetable garden you love? Gone. That shed 2 inches over property line? Demolished. Your electric car charger? Removed. I'll find every single violation, if it's the last thing I do." She spun on her heel and stormed down my walkway. Across the street, my neighbor Tom was watering his perfectly trimmed lawn. He caught my eye and gave me a knowing look, followed by a discreet thumbs up. I guessed I wasn't the only one tired of Deborah's reign of terror. That night, I started digging. I called the first insurance company, keeping my questions vague, asking about water damage claims in the neighborhood. Then I called another and another. A disturbing pattern emerged. Over the past year, Deborah had filed water damage claims with 7 different insurance companies, all using my address as a damaged property. The next morning, I found a bright yellow violation notice taped to my front door. According to Deborah, my grass was a 1/4 inch too high, my mailbox was a wrong shade of black, and my bird feeder was an unauthorized wildlife feeding station. The total fines? $1,200. I actually smiled as I pulled it down. She had no idea who she was dealing with. I work as a risk assessment analyst for a major bank. My entire job is spotting fraud patterns. And Deborah had just handed me a textbook case. Instead of confronting her, I went to work. I compiled every piece of evidence: letters, checks, claim dates, company names. Then I called the state insurance fraud division. At first, the investigator on the other end sounded bored until I mentioned multiple companies and the total payout amount. "Sir," he said, his tone sharpening, "what you're describing could be a federal offense. Multiple fraudulent claims across different carriers? That's the kind of thing that triggers an FBI investigation, especially at that dollar amount. We'll need to take your statement officially." 2 days later, I was sitting in a downtown office with Agent Rodriguez, walking her through my findings. She listened carefully, taking detailed notes, her expression growing more serious with every page of evidence. "This," she said finally, "is what we call premium diversion. It's when someone takes out multiple insurance policies on the same property and files the same claim over and over, but using someone else's address. That's a new twist." While the investigation quietly moved forward, Deborah's harassment escalated. More violation notices appeared. Guest cars were mysteriously towed from legal parking spots. She even tried reporting my home to the city for code violations, all of which were completely fabricated. None of Deborah's so-called violations against me existed, and I wasn't the only one she'd been targeting. Neighbors who had once kept their heads down during her tirades started reaching out. Susan, 3 doors down, told me she'd been fined because her daughter drew chalk pictures on their own driveway. Mike, who lived on the corner, had been reported because his American flag was apparently 2 inches larger than regulation size. The stories poured in. A month passed, and I began to wonder if anything would actually come of my report. Then, on a perfectly ordinary Tuesday morning, I was backing out of my driveway when I saw them, 3 unmarked sedans parked in front of Deborah's house. Men and women in dark suits and jackets marked FBI across the back were walking up her front steps. Let's just say I was late to work that day. So was half the neighborhood. People lingered outside, pretending to water plants or walk their dogs, all trying to catch a glimpse. Deborah emerged minutes later, escorted by 2 agents. Her face was pale, her confident posture replaced with a hunched, defeated shuffle. She didn't make eye contact with anyone as they placed her in the back of a sedan. That evening, my phone buzzed constantly as word spread through the neighborhood. Apparently, my case was only the tip of the iceberg. Deborah had been running the same scheme with at least 4 other properties in different HOA communities she was connected to. The estimated fraud total? Over $300,000. The emergency HOA meeting that Friday was the most well-attended in Oakwood Estates history. Tom, the vice president, led in Deborah's absence. The mood was a mix of relief and disbelief as he announced the board's unanimous vote to remove Deborah as president, effective immediately. All violation notices issued in the last 3 months are being rescinded pending review, he said, his voice echoing in the packed community center, and we'll be conducting a full audit of all HOA finances. As the meeting wrapped up, I felt a tap on my shoulder. It was Agent Rodriguez. "I thought you'd want to know," she said quietly. "Ms. Wilson is facing 6 counts of insurance fraud, 3 counts of mail fraud, and 1 count of identity theft. Minimum sentence she's looking at is 7 years, plus fines exceeding $1 million. I was still processing that when my phone buzzed again, an email notification from an unfamiliar address. The subject line read, "You ruined my life." I opened it. The single paragraph inside was unmistakably from Deborah, Likely sent just before the FBI took her devices. I hope you're satisfied with yourself. I've lost everything, my home, my reputation, my freedom, all because you couldn't mind your own business and just give me my mail. The board was my life. That HOA was everything to me. You've destroyed me. And for what? Some technical violations that hurt nobody? They're saying I may never hold a position of trust again, that I may never be able to get insurance again, that I may never return to Oakwood. This isn't justice. This is persecution. I will never forgive you for this. Never. I stare at my phone, a strange sense of closure settling over me. Even now, facing federal charges, Deborah still didn't get it. In her mind, the rules were for other people, until suddenly they weren't.